You're about to witness one of the most underrated trucking battles of the 20th century. On one side, the Leyland Marathon, Britain's bold attempt to build a modern, lightweight hauler. On the other, the Freightliner FL86, an American powerhouse that didn't care about style, just getting the job done. Two philosophies, two continents, one steel-clad showdown. This isn't just about trucks, it's about identity. When it comes to big lorries, the engine is more than just a block of metal. It's a personality. And these two couldn't be more different. The Leyland Marathon launched with the TL12 engine, a direct injection 11.6-liter six-cylinder diesel pushing out around 220 to 240 horsepower. Based on the AEC AV760, the TL12 featured a fixed fan and wet cylinder liners, good for weight savings, but prone to overheating and liner seal failures under heavy loads. Despite its flaws, the engine ran smooth, revved willingly, and was notably quieter than many of its rivals. Export models were sometimes equipped with the Rolls-Royce Eagle 265 or Cummins NHC 250, which gave the Marathon a genuine boost in pulling power, especially in mountainous terrain. Meanwhile, the Freightliner FL86 was often delivered with Cummins NTC 290S or Detroit Diesel 8V71 two-strokes, producing between 270 and 335 horsepower and torque figures that topped 1,000 pound-feet. These were proven, long-haul engines designed for endless stretches of American interstate. Whether it was the turbocharged Cummins or the high-revving Detroit, they didn't just move freight, they muscled it across the continent. So who wins this round? If you needed smooth delivery and quiet operation, the Marathon offered refinement. But for raw power and load-lugging endurance, winner, Freightliner FL86. Why? Bigger numbers, proven reliability, and the torque to outpull its British rival all day long. Score: Leyland Marathon, 0. Freightliner FL86, 1. A great engine means nothing if the gearbox doesn't let you use it. And here's where the difference in engineering philosophies really shows. The Leyland Marathon initially featured the SCG 9-speed semi-automatic splitter box, a bold but divisive choice. It aimed to reduce driver fatigue with clutchless shifts and pre-selected gears. On paper, it was cutting edge. In practice, it was inconsistent. The system lagged under load, struggled with reliability, and often left drivers frustrated. Recognizing this, Leyland later offered fuller 9- and 13-speed manuals, which drastically improved drivability, giving hauliers full control and better long-term durability. The Freightliner FM86, on the other hand, came standard with the Eaton Fuller Road Ranger 13 or 15-speed manual gearboxes. These were, and still are, the gold standard for American rigs. Tough, intuitive, and dead reliable. With a bit of practice, drivers could float gears, skip shift, and keep the engine right in its sweet spot without breaking stride. In mountainous terrain or rolling highways, the Road Ranger was a weapon. But here's the twist. While the FL86 delivered superior gearing for open road hauling, the Marathon's cab-over layout and shorter wheelbase made it easier to drive in tight UK cities. And with the fuller box fitted, it became genuinely enjoyable to drive. Winner? Both of them. It's a draw here. Why? The FL86 nailed long-haul drivability, but the Marathon, once upgraded, held its own and was more agile in urban settings. Score: Leyland Marathon 1, Freightliner FL86 2. You can have all the horsepower in the world, but if the cab feels like a tin box on wheels, drivers are going to feel it. And after 10 hours on the road, that matters more than you'd think. The Leyland Marathon came with a forward-thinking tilt cab made from pressed aluminum, one of the first in the UK to take driver comfort seriously. It had a flat floor, wide visibility, and enough room to stretch out, especially compared to older British cabs. Noise insulation was basic, but functional. Ride quality? Not plush, but controlled. You still felt the road, but not in a way that left you shattered at the end of a shift. The Freightliner FL86 didn't bother with finesse. It was all function. The cab looked like a filing cabinet, but drivers got air-suspended seats, and the longer wheelbase soaked up highway bumps with surprising ease. Visibility was solid. And for a lorry hauling coast to coast, it was actually quiet, at least when fitted with a Cummins. The Detroit diesel versions? Loud as a rock concert inside, with a constant mechanical scream at high RPMs. While the FL86 was built for comfort at speed, the Marathon offered a more modern, airy space that felt like the future of British haulage. Winner: Leyland Marathon. Why? Better cab design, better access, and a leap forward in driver ergonomics for the UK market. Score: Leyland Marathon 2, Shuri Freightliner FL86 2. This looks like it's going to be an interesting one. Subscribe to the channel. We will have many more encounters like these coming up on your channel. A truck that spends more time in the yard than on the road is just dead weight. And both these machines had very different reputations when it came to staying alive. The Leyland Marathon, with its TL12 engine, had promise. But early versions were plagued by liner sealing failures, gasket issues, and cooling problems, especially under sustained heavy loads. Mechanics also found the SCG semi-auto gearbox temperamental and difficult to service. To their credit, later marathons with Cummins or Rolls-Royce Eagles were far more reliable. But by then, the damage to Leyland's reputation was done. And sourcing parts? It wasn't always straightforward, especially for fleets outside major urban hubs. The Freightliner FL86, meanwhile, was the poster child for field serviceability. The Cummins NTC engines were modular, rebuildable, and backed by a coast-to-coast service network. You could swap injectors, rebuild heads, or even change blocks in a roadside garage if needed. The Detroit diesels, while noisier and less fuel efficient, could keep running even after years of abuse. The Eaton-Fuller transmissions were practically unkillable. Simply put, the FL86 was engineered for uptime. The Marathon was engineered for progress. But progress doesn't pay when your lorry's stuck in the shop. Winner: Freightliner FL86. Why? Fewer breakdowns, easier repairs, and a support network that kept freight moving no matter where you were. Score: Leyland Marathon 2, Freightliner FL86 3. Build quality isn't just about how long something lasts. It's about how well it holds together while doing its job. Rattles, rust, panel gaps, they all tell a story, and these two trucks had very different stories to tell. The Leyland Marathon was a breath of fresh air for British lorries. Its pressed aluminum cab reduced curb weight and resisted rust better than older steel designs. The fit and finish, by Leyland standards, was a major improvement. Doors shut with a solid thunk. Dash panels didn't wobble, and the tilting cab made servicing easier, which meant less damage during repairs. It wasn't flawless, but it aged better than most British rigs of the time. Many operators reported that even after years of use, the cabs remained tight and corrosion-free. The Freightliner FL86 took a different route. Its riveted aluminum cab looked crude, but it was built to take a pounding. The structure could handle extreme weather, long hauls, and rough roads without falling apart. But the finish? Spartan. Trim panels wore out fast, rubber seals leaked over time, and rust, while slower to appear, still found its way onto steel cross members and exposed frame rails. So while both cabs stood the test of time in their own way, the Marathon had the edge in refinement and corrosion resistance. Winner: Leyland Marathon. Why? Better panel fit, less rust, and a cleaner build that held up in tough British weather. Score: Leyland Marathon 3, Freightliner FL86 3. It's one thing to build a great truck, it's another to build one that fits its environment. Roads, regulations, and operator demands shape what makes a lorry successful. And this round is all about whether these trucks actually made sense where they were used. The Leyland Marathon was purpose-built for Europe. With its short wheelbase, tight turning radius, and cab-over design, It thrived on Britain's narrow roads and tight depots. It was light, fuel-efficient for its class, and well-suited to both long-distance and local work. Operators liked the payload-to-weight ratio, and with export models fitted with stronger engines, it had real international potential. Leyland even aimed to crack the North American market, but weak dealer support and early mechanical gremlins killed that dream. The Freightliner FL86 was born for the American interstate. Long wheelbase, big tanks, huge power plants. It could hammer down highways all day without breaking a sweat. But in cities, it was a handful. The cab-over layout helped a bit, but the FL86 was heavy, wide, and built for straight-line speed, not tight turns. European-style urban work would have chewed it up fast. So while both trucks were strong performers, the Marathon simply fit its market better and could adapt when needed. Winner, Leyland Marathon. Why? Designed for UK and European roads, adaptable across markets, and light enough to maximize payload. Score, Leyland Marathon, 4, Freightliner FL86, 3. Okay, last round now, and it is getting heated here. Who do you think will win? Pause the video now and drop your comments first and subscribe while you're at it. At the end of the day, specs don't win loyalty, experience does. Have the best engine and gearbox on paper, but if drivers hated being in it for 10 hours a day, it didn't stand a chance. So which of these two earned the driver's respect? The Leyland Marathon was a genuine step forward for British drivers. The flat floor cab, wide windows, and intuitive layout made it feel like a machine built with the driver in mind. Not just the fleet manager. It was easier to climb in and out of, gave great forward visibility, and felt less claustrophobic than anything Leyland had built before. For many drivers coming out of cramped ergonomics or gritty Bedfords, the Marathon felt like moving up in the world. The Freightliner FL86, though, it was a different kind of relationship. It didn't pamper, it didn't try to impress, but it showed up, pulled hard, and got the job done every time. Drivers loved the powerful throttle response, the torque-rich climbing ability, and the sheer dependability. Add in a proper Road Ranger and a Cummins, and you had something you could trust. It wasn't pretty, but it earned loyalty the hard way. So who takes the final point? The Marathon was more comfortable, sure, but the FL86 made drivers feel like they were commanding a machine, not babysitting one. Winner, Freightliner FL86. Why? Torque, trust, and toughness. Drivers respected it, even if it never felt luxurious. Final score, Leyland Marathon. 4, Freightliner FL86, 4. And just like that, we've got a draw. But this wasn't a tie of compromise. It was a deadlock between two giants who came from opposite worlds, but delivered on their own terms. The Freightliner FL86 was the ultimate American road warrior. With powerful Cummins engines, bomb-proof Road Ranger gearboxes, and a chassis that could handle brutal long-haul abuse, it was made for vast highways and non-stop freight. It didn't charm, it conquered. And for drivers who valued performance and dependability above all, the FL86 was a badge of pride. The Leyland Marathon, on the other hand, was a symbol of British innovation. Lightweight, agile, and ahead of its time in design, it gave British hauliers a glimpse of modern trucking before many were ready. It wasn't perfect. Early flaws and parts issues held it back, but it looked forward, not back. And for a brief moment, Leyland showed the world it could build a lorry that wasn't just competitive, it was compelling. So who really won? Depends who you ask. If you drove wide-open highways across 3 states, the FL86 was your iron horse. If you navigated tight towns and distribution yards in the UK, the Marathon made your day easier. 2 nations, 2 philosophies, 1 legendary face-off. If you enjoyed this head-to-head, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Did you drive one? Which side are you on? British steel or Yankee horsepower? Till next time, keep it steady and keep it rolling.